What is going on YouTube? N60 Fortress here, I'm back. Thanks for tuning in again as always, it's very much appreciated. What we're going to go through on this video, as the title suggests, is a quick review, play, discussion of Fever Pitch on the Super Nintendo. I know it's a bit left field for the channel considering we're N64 content primarily, but you know, like I've always said, I'm going to do other content as well. I'm bringing this to you via the SNES Mini. I don't have a Super Nintendo anymore. I never had one growing up back in the day. I had a Sega Mega Drive 2, and even then we got that quite late into the Mega Drive life, really. I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 1 might have been out by then, like 95 times, something like that. So, yeah, it would have been pretty late. I never had a Super Nintendo. We went from Mega Drive to N64. I did have exposure to playing Super Nintendo for many years, probably after it was in its peak, really, when I was going to sort of like in between term time, when you're in half term and Christmas holidays and stuff like that. I used to go to a care group with my brother, and my parents would just drop me there while I go to work, and it was basically at a school. But they had like loads of stuff there, bikes outside, video games inside, different things you could do and stuff like that. And obviously, you just gravitate towards the video games, like these sort of children from back then. And they had a Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Master System, all these sorts of things. Every now and then someone would bring an N64 in, but yeah, I played a lot of Super Nintendo. So Fever Pitch was one of the games that we used to play a lot of, and it was just a football game that, if you think back to football games from that sort of era, none of them really are very memorable, really. But this one, for me, it's really memorable and very enjoyable. Me and my brother sometimes go back to it and just have a couple of games just for old time's sake. And I'll sort of go into why that is, really, because it's a bit different to your average football game at the time. It was just had a little special touch to it. And I will just say that I did buy a Super Nintendo when I got a little bit older, maybe when I was about 13 or something like that, maybe in the early 2000s. I did pick up a Super Nintendo and had a little bit of a collection going, and then I obviously upgraded to some really nice copies in years gone by. But I eventually sold all that when the SNES Mini came out, because I got a friend of a friend to basically hack this, and unfortunately it hasn't got the entire library on it. It wouldn't fit, but I've got all the games that I have any sort of nostalgia for, any games I want to play, all the hitters, they're all on here. So that's good enough for me. And yeah, I just thought I'd save some money and sell the collection that I had. You can't collect everything, and I've got no regrets there. I've got no intentions of buying back my Super Nintendo stuff. All my favourite games are on here. It looks authentic. It's original Nintendo product. It's got the original controllers. Like, what more could you want, really? So for somebody like me, this is perfect. And yeah, I'm not a full-on emulator, but where possible, it just makes sense for me with these things because they're great. But there's still a nostalgia hit using the same controllers and so on. So yeah, without further ado, then let's get into the review of Fever Pitch on the Super Nintendo. What's going on, guys? VoiceOver N60 Fortress here. I'm back. Here's the original games on the SNES Mini. We go to more games, and the subfolders split into subsections of the alphabet, really. So we're on A's here, and then we're going to look for the subfolder that's got F, and then we can search for Fever Pitch. It's great having all these extra games on the SNES Mini. I'm not sure why they didn't put more on originally. I guess it was due to a combination of cost saving and licensing reasons, but given the SNES Mini has capacity for more games on it, it's a shame that they didn't put some more on, really. The music is great, so I'll let you listen to this bit. Right, we select our English language and yeah, go straight into an exhibition match. And then a team select, really. I'm going to go for Brazil because they've got some good players, as you'll see. Fever Pitch Soccer, it's called, was actually developed and published by US Gold. It was released in 1995, originally on the Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive, and then it came out on the Super Nintendo after. I actually find the Super Nintendo version better. I have played both. I think the control scheme works a little bit better with the Super Nintendo controller, having a few extra buttons, and yeah, just generally it feels a bit better in the hand when playing this game. Graphically, it is a little bit superior as well. It is quite difficult to score using the generic shoot function. It's a lot easier if you use players' special abilities. Like this guy has a power shot there. The ball catches fire and it travels a lot faster, and you have a lot better chance of scoring when you've got one of those sort of strikers up top. There's also other special abilities across players in this game. One that can shoulder barge people out the way, one that's more skillful, one that can deliver a long ball, and one that can curl a goal home. Here's an example of the guy, a skillful guy. And yeah, here we go, up to the curler, and he's just curled one home. Great goal. The game is pretty neat for the time, and it allows you to see a replay of the goal, and if it was a good goal, it's always a nice way to rub it into your opposition, particularly if you're playing a two-player on this game. Overall, the game seems to flow well. The graphics are, pretty standard for the time, look pretty good overall. Nothing that you feel like is lacking in that department. What I would say is this game is almost like cage rules, so when you foul somebody, it's very rare that you get given a free kick. It does happen from time to time, but not that often really. But yeah, here we go, ball up top to the curler and back of the net. Yeah, it's always great to score a goal like that. It's just the way the ball moves, it's nice. The goalkeeping in this game is somewhat of a mystery. You see that blasted shot saved from such close range there, and yet in the next game I'll shoot from near the halfway line and it'll go all the way in. It's just one of those games really that keeps you wondering how sometimes the keeper will pull off saves like this, and yet others will go in from really, really far out, and it just adds to the charm of the game really. How that wasn't a penalty there, I'll never know, and that's what I'm referring to about the cage rules as well. So yeah, overall I rate FIFA Pitch Soccer quite highly really. I did play other football games of that sort of time frame, generation, era. The FIFAs on the Sega Mega Drive and so on. But yeah, none of them really seem to match up with the enjoyment I had playing this really. I mean, there was some fun on FIFA 96, I believe, on the Mega Drive. When I was younger, but yeah, I think this overall just captured a bit more enjoyment. There's a bit more charm about the game, and it just got you a bit more competitive, and just the enjoyment that comes from playing multiplayer, the cage rule element, so getting away with fouls and stuff like that, and scoring more exotic goals with the long shots and curlers. It just made for a more interesting experience overall. So yeah, I'll just load up one more game now and show you some elements that I haven't shown you yet. So here you could change the turf as well, so it just made it a different backdrop, and maybe even the way the ball moves around a little bit, but certainly the backdrop. And yeah, I'll select a different team here. I'll choose England because they've got some players that Brazil haven't got. Notably, they've got somebody who's strong at the back who can barge people out the way, and they have a diver up front. I'll throw it out to the barger now. You have to press A to use their special ability. So look, you can just see he shoulders people out the way and just shrugs them off, but it doesn't always work. You do have to time it quite well. There's the diver, didn't yield anything. It's really difficult to yield a free kick or a foul or a penalty. I think you have to do it in the box, and you really do need to time it well. There is a skill to it. You literally can't dive and earn things, so there's an element of realism there. See, that wasn't obvious, and yeah, it didn't yield any sort of free kick. But I think if you do it in the box, you can get penalties, but you have to be really selective the way you time it. Just going back to the control scheme in general, so yeah, it's A to use a special ability. Here I'm going to do the skillful one where you can hop over people. Very difficult to tackle when you're doing that. And yeah, just the rest of the control scheme is quite easy really, just using the D-pad to move around, and A for the special ability. B for a shorter pass, and Y for a longer pass. So yeah, overall I really enjoy this game. It's a huge nostalgia blast for me. So yeah, I give it a strong 9 out of 10 really for me. It's not, obviously can't be perfect, but yeah, that's where it sits for me. So much fun to be had on this game, and so much fun back in the day. Here's a set piece situation. So Ghana are taking a free kick and they used their curler specialist there. Sadly it didn't go in for them, but yeah, it's just, this game shows you what was around at the time, and I think it is a hidden gem really, because not many people know about this game really that I've spoken to over the years. I wouldn't have known about it if I didn't play it at the care group I went to. But yeah, just got one more sort of goal here to show you after this replay. There's one more goal to come, and I think it's just worthy of showing really. It just goes back to the point that I made earlier about the sporadic natures of the goalkeeping ability. 1 minute they're saving blasted shots from close range, and here we are what's that, 35, 40 yards out, and it's just gone all the way through, and shows you that the game does allow you to score long ranges as well, really. And I've seen it happen with the curlers as well. You've just got to, learn what positions to best get into, and what angles to use, really, and the game will basically take care of itself from there, and all the fun that will come with that. So yeah, I'm going to give it a strong 9 out of 10, really, and yeah, definitely recommend having a go on this if you're one that haven't tried it before, and appreciate this era of gaming. It's really not that expensive either to pick up. It's very affordable on the Super Nintendo if you into your physical copies. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. A quick review of Fever Pitch on the SNES, or SNES Mini, I should say. Very nostalgic game for me. So much fun, all those special abilities in varying different teams, and using those to your advantage to try and get past your opposition, I guess, for a lack of a better way of putting it. I thought it's just a nice touch. That not many other games are doing that, making it a bit more, I don't know, arcadey, I guess. Just taking it one step further, and just you know using a bit of animation to liven the game up. So those, the fireball shooter, like blaster, the curler, the diver, the strong strength guy, the skillful guy who can just flick it over people and stuff. It's just brilliant, isn't it? It's just so simple, but just a nice touch. And if you want to show off your flair against your opposition, what better way to do it than using tricks like that? So yeah, it's just a game that always resonates with me, and we enjoy playing it, me and my brother, when we get round to it. And we like playing it back in the day, and it's just one of those that you just sort of sticks with you. Really, it's hard to forget a fun game like that. You think, what games did I have the most fun on? And that's definitely one that always generates a laugh. As simple as it is, it's just a early '90s football game. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you're new, please consider subscribing. There will be content like this, not just N64. There's always going to be other content, other games that I enjoy, that I'll go over and review, and do in a less analytical way, and just sort of make it easier going on the eye. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.